On June the 5th, 1989, my little world blacked over and nothing was to be the same again. My 8-year-old son Martin, a bright, beautiful and wonderful little boy, stepped out onto the road and was tragically knocked down. Much of what happened over the following weeks was and still is a blur. The pain is so acute and the sensation of this is incomprehensible, and the tragedy seems almost surreal. But when you lose a child, the only thing you can give them is a funeral and a grave. I'm told that my son had a wonderful funeral. I can't remember much about it because my world was black and nothing had resonated in my mind. I couldn't function, as I've said. I couldn't do simple chores like washing my hair or cooking a meal. When the undertaker was explaining to me what the plans for my little boy's funeral were, I just wanted to hold my little boy, not bury him. But I remember the day the bill arrived and that fear in my stomach as to how I would pay for it.
Carolyn Harris End, the Commons. She now joins us on the Daily Politics. Welcome to the programme. It's very, very moving and emotional. The campaign that you've been running has come out entirely because of your own personal experience. Yeah, it's something I felt very strongly about for a long time, but never been in a position to do anything about it. But I've now been given the opportunity to be the voice for people right across this country who feel that awful, awful. And I would suspect that because you have come out so publicly on this issue, that you have struck a chord, that there are a number of people have found themselves in your position. Many, many people. And every day I get more and more emails and letters and phone calls from people who were in the same position as me. Some people didn't even have the opportunity to bury their child because they just couldn't afford it, especially babies, and they've left it to the care of whatever hospital they were in to actually deal with that side of things. I want to come on to what you would like the government to do in a minute, but why have funerals, particularly for children, why have they become so expensive? I think they've always been expensive. They have. I don't think that nothing's changed there. And I understand local authorities have to pay grave diggers, they have to keep crematoriums and cemeteries operational. I understand all that. But it's such a small ask to make some kind of pot of money available that individual local authorities could be the facilitator, if you like, of drawing down the cash, so that undertakers and parents don't need to apply. Because, you know, as I said, I couldn't fill a kettle. It was the worst time to have to fill in a form, isn't it? Awful. And the social fund implies that you are eligible to a benefit. It's means tested. Yeah. Losing a child can have no boundaries onto what your income and your expenditure is. It shouldn't be an issue. It should be there. So, given the importance of this for people at the most vulnerable time, just explain again what you would like the government to do. I'd like the government to make available a pot of money which local authorities could apply to themselves to cover the costs of a children's funeral. These are the costs which are upfront costs. Any undertaker is expected to pay these costs ahead of any service. Many parents haven't got that money. Some undertakers have to ask parents to undergo a credit check in order to be able to pay it for them. So I'm saying to the government, it's such an easy ask, make that money available. There's no embarrassment, there's no pain and torture. The money's there, just give it to them. Do we have a ballpark figure of what we're... Yeah, £10 million. That's it? That's £10 million. For all of England? For England, Wales, Scotland, everywhere. Oh, for the whole of the UK? Everywhere, £10 million. Would cover? It would cover it. What do you make of the government's response so far then? I felt sorry for the Minister on Monday. I think he was put in a terrible position. He was obviously moved by what I'd said. I've written to Theresa May 3 weeks ago and I'm still waiting for a reply. And we keep getting told that it's down to the social fund, and I keep on saying this should not be means tested. This should be available to every parent. Are you getting some cross-party support? Phenomenal. You are? People are coming on to me in the comments, writing me letters and saying this is something that has to happen. And are you hopeful that in the end it will? I am hopeful. I may be on a limb here, but I have a feeling you're not going to give up. I certainly won't. I never have given up on anything, and I won't give up on this. I'm sure you'll prevail. The overwhelming majority of the country's with you. You know that. I'd like to think so, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you'll prevail. Thank you. Well, listen, we thank you for coming on and explaining the case today. Thank you for the opportunity. Pleasure. Now,